Hey guys, Dan Lutz, Abnormal Outdoors again. Hey, I watched a video last night from a guy, a real big monkey on YouTube, Dave Parsons. Great guy, man, love his videos. He had like an open-ended tag. Wanted to put up what was your first knife, your current knife, and your future knife. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. Now, it's hard to say what's my favorite knife because what I did is I want to explain to you about knives. Knives are tools for me. I've been trapping for over 40 years, deer hunting, fishing. Each knife has specific tools. That's why I have right here. Just 9/16 snap-on wrench, high dollar wrench. Love this wrench. It's a great wrench. I've had that wrench probably 30 years. But it sucks on a 1/2-inch bolt. So knives are like that. You got great knives, and they all got a different tool. That's why we all have so many knives. The one tool option doesn't exist, especially not in my world. But it was kind of interesting. What was your first knife? Well, man, I had folders growing up when I was real little. But the first knife I remember getting was a charade lock blade like this one. I'll get you a closer look at it. I've had this knife probably, I don't know, since I was 13, 14 years old. The first one was given to me, and the blade was whittled down to nothing. This farmer gave it to me. He said, you always got to carry a knife. Bales of hay, feeding, digging stuff out. I remember getting this knife, and this thing was huge deer knife. All the guys I've seen butcher small game and deer, they was using pocket knives on it. And I don't even have the original sheath. I went through like 3 sheaths carrying this knife. I've skinned, who knows what I've skinned with this thing. But that was basically my first real knife, I remember. And it had a lock blade. Remember back in the day, a lot of folders didn't, and you could get hurt without the folders. And this was a heavy duty blade. I mean, it was huge. And believe it or not, I carried this to school every day. Every day on my side, on a leather sheath pouch. We carried it every day. Yeah, we fought. We didn't pull our knives out. That's a different story. But yeah, I don't have the original one that was whittled half. I don't know whatever happened to it. But this one I bought new, and this just was the great knife of all time. That was my beginning knives, man. That was the big knives, quote, big knives in the day. So that's where I kind of started, was with the lock blades and stuff. That's kind of what everybody did, and the old timers that taught me did. So it was kind of a unique deal, because Victor Bird was the man, one of my mentors about knives, and he had over 10,000 knives in his basement when he died. And they were just all kinds of knives. And he explained this to me. You need all kinds of knives for all kinds of different tools. Now, you don't need 10,000 of them, don't get me wrong. This guy was a hoarder on knives. He was a knife nut. So you'll see, because I have trapping knives, I have butchering knives, I have skinning knives, and then I have fillet knives, and then I have utility knives. So for saying, okay, what's my current, that was my first, first knife. My current knife, what I carry on me is I usually carry 2 to 3 to 4 knives a day. I carry a modified, this is actually prototype Nessie. You'll see my video on it. See, it's a multi-grind knife, WC Knives. Okay, sheath is by Stitch Gear Outfitters down here. I carry horizontal. Now I carry that every day, but when I was at work, because I couldn't carry a straight knife at work, I carried an Opinel number 10. My daughter bought this knife for me for Christmas in 2009. Yes, it's dirty. I use it. It's got my initials engraved in it. You can't hardly see it, but you can see the wear on it. I've carried it since '09, every day of my life. Unless I had surgeries, they wouldn't let me in with surgery. So that's what I carry every day. That's my current carry knife. So, I don't want to make this video too long and the stories behind that, but that's why I carry multiple knives, because this one was usually for work. I carried it at work. I can't carry a sheath knife, at work back then. What you see here is that's my match safe. But so now we're going to go into kind of what my favorite knives are real quick. And we'll shoot you down here. You can see that. Some of my favorite knives. This knife was gifted to me by my brother. This is a Kershaw. It's discontinued. Me and my brother, we did, I think, 8 deer in one day butchering deer. There's 4 of us total down in West Virginia. This knife has seen some serious butchering. There's a reason. I'll shoot a video why I don't carry that knife anymore. One of my favorite, best looking knives, Buck 124 Frontier. Man, is that just a gorgeous looking knife. I've skinned a lot of deer with this knife. They still have this in production, limited runs, they bring it out. Okay, right here, this is it. This is one of my babies I carry right now. It's a current favorite. This is the Master Woodsman Model 2 in AEBL from WC Knives. It's got this camo handle on it. I can't remember what it is. Man, do I like this knife. If I was in the bushcraft world and stuff like that, I'd do it. You can see the custom sheath from Stitch Cure Outfitters, Randy Smith. That's my YouTube channel, Abnormal Outdoors. He just does a killer job on stuff, overkill. Tension's perfect on the blade. Now, what we're gonna get to, so everybody talks Moors, and you're gonna hate me because I laid this on my burner. I gotta fix it. I actually got this knife off Dave Canterbury at a sale. I've had this knife for a very long time. I've butchered 3 deer with that knife. Is it my favorite knife? Boy, I'm gonna get a lot of ridicule on this. Absolutely not. This is a wood processing machine. They should call it a little beaver. You're doing camp chores and stuff like that, Scandy grind's great. It is not the best for skinning. Now, I know I'm gonna hear this, oh man, I've skinned deer. I have too. I've skinned a lot of coons with this knife. Scandy grinds doesn't work as good. That's why we have other knives for this. I'm not trying to dog more any way, shape, or form, guys. You know, that's a great knife, especially in the price range. I mean, they're almost indestructible. They're great. I run a motorcycle. I kept a motorcycle in one of my motorcycles. And I've abused the crap out of these knives. But if I was going into filleting fish, skinning animals, I've gutted 3 deer with that. I skinned a whole deer. I had trouble with it. It didn't like going through the rib cage. I'll probably hear a lot about that, you know, a lot of more fans, but man, that's why we have different grinds. Now you're gonna say right here, this is a Victorinox. You know, this is what I prefer to do a ton of skinning and boning with on deer, on big game, deer, hogs, whatever. I know that sounds funny, all my knives, and this is a cheap knife, but they stay razor sharp. My buddy was a professional butcher. This is what they run. And so that's kind of this is what I use. All these knives, what I use. Some of them I retired because of new things like the Master Woodsmans and stuff. It's hard to say, okay, Dan, what's your favorite knife? Well, that don't exist, man, because what's my favorite? Oh, I love my 9/16 ring, but like I said, it sucks on a 1/2-inch bolt. This is why trappers, right behind me, why mechanics have more big toolboxes. You can see them back here. Why you got to have multiple tools for multiple jobs, and that's what I want to explain. That's what I want to get clear. Now, so that's what I run, guys. I mean, sometimes they're very inexpensive knives. Sometimes they're $high knives. To me, I use them as tools, you know, for the job. What I have the tool at hand. We can go on. You can follow my other videos and back about the WCSK survival knife. You know, that'll really explain a lot more. Now let's get on to the future knife. What am I going to carry in the future? Well, you got to kind of stay tuned on that, guys. There's some work in progress. We'll just leave it at that. I believe with 40 plus years being a woodsman and my experience and how I like knives, I can kind of understand where I want my personal aspect of a knife. You can see in this box, these are my trapping knives, skinning knives. A lot of these are cheap knives. A lot of these are very expensive knives. Here's probably one of the most sold knife for trapping right here. It's a cheap, you know, it's a $15 knife, throwaway, stainless steel. I've skinned with this style knife, I've skinned thousands of coons probably with that knife. So it'll give you an idea of where we're going forward. And so I know it's kind of weird. You know, I talk about my first knife, my current knife, and then my future knife I'm not going to talk about because it's on paper. That's all it is. So you got to stay tuned for that. I think it's going to come out pretty decent. But I just wanted to go over, guys, a lot of this, you know, these are snap-on tools. and you can give them to a novice and try to work on your car. You know, the tools don't make the man makes the tools. And I believe that, the novice goes out and buys the Craftsman's and the cheap tools to work on his everyday home stuff. I actually worked on diesel trucks for 21 years. We invested in high-dollar stuff. We invest in high-dollar stuff because of that. But you progress into that. I've got boxes and boxes of knives. Yeah, it's crazy how, if you see where I started and who taught me and where I'm at now, my knives are shrinking in size, guys. For example, and to give you an idea, because a lot of my skinning was small game. 60-pound beavers or less. Deer. I can do everything to a deer I need to do with this knife. Does it say that this knife does the whole deer the right way? No, that's why they make butcher knives. That's why they make boning knives. I know it sounds like a kind of a rant, what we're talking about, but I just want to show you that that's what I use. That's what I've used, for a long time. I don't have my fillet knives out here. They're put up. Fishing season's just around the corner again. But, it goes back to saying, okay, it's the one tool option. Well, that's great. But you have to understand that when you are, if you're going to fillet fish, it can be done with bigger knives and stuff. Our ancestors did it with a flint rock. They carved up deer and processed the meat with a flint stone, So it can be done, but we have moved on from that. That's why we have so many different grinds on these knives. These knives are full flats, semi-flat. Oh man, I can't remember them all. Scandies, it just goes on. And why that developed that way is because they're the toolbox. That's why when you see the old timers butcher knives, they had butcher knives. They had smaller knives. They had larger knives. They had big boning knives. If you're doing hogs, you need to get underneath that meat, especially when you're deboning a deer. So that's why I think of my little rant. But I appreciate Dave Parsons from Really Big Monkey. He's got a good channel, big channel. I love his style out in the woods. He was taught by the old timers, and I think we either dumb enough to listen or smart enough to listen to them. But it was a lot of woods time, and it seems like we've kind of walked the same path a little bit. So I just want to give a shout out for that, and give me a chance just to talk about what knives I run and what my favorite knife. But guys, I appreciate everything you guys do for me. So we'll do this again. Stay tuned because there's more knife stuff coming up. So thanks, guys.